Hi guys, it's Julian from Once1, and this will be a theoretical video about general approach to poker. We will analyze success factors in poker, which of them are more important, which of them are less important, and how to improve on every of these factors to at least maintain in a poker world in a place in which you are right now. Maybe by constant improving you will be able to move up in stakes and increase your winnings. Okay, let's begin. So in my opinion, this is main factors which influences our existence in a poker world. This will be technical skill. This is about how well do you balance your lines, how much do you work on some GTO stuff, Empire Solver, Card Runner, CV, how many videos you watch, and stuff like this. Exploitation. This is about how well are you adjusting to your opponents, how are you identifying their leaks and using it to your benefits. The next one will be stable psychology. It might relate to in-game psychology and also to off-the-table psychology. So for example, how well can you handle bad beats, how easily can you overcome downswings, how conscious is your thinking, and etc. Money management. It's not only about the bankroll management, but also how are you spending your money, which are your financial goals in your life in general, and how much money are you reinvesting in your bankroll and in yourself, in improving yourself as a poker player and as a human being. Grind. This is probably one of the most important things here, and for me the grind is how many hours per month you can play at least your big game. Obviously, the more you can play, and if you have good enough dollar per hour, this will determine how much money will you earn per month and will have quite significant influence in your overall success in poker. Rest. We also cannot underestimate rest because it's very important. If you will not plan your rest and if you will be just grinding and putting yourself under pressure, then sooner or later you will get burnt out and then you will start becoming more nervous, so your psychology will drops in quality, you will start losing money, you will not be able to grind a lot. So rest, it might look not so important, but actually it is, and it's very important to relax in proper ways, in a healthy ways. We will discuss it later. Environment. It's about your overall life and environment, your family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, friends, and also about your poker buddies and maybe your poker coaches, maybe somebody who you is coaching poker. All this is very important because, for example, if you communicate with a lot of other poker players, then you will think about poker more often. You will maybe copy some of their thoughts about poker, something from their approaches. For example, if you can spend some time with a really good poker player who is playing high stakes, then you can, for example, copy his approach to the money, to the downswings, to moving up stakes. You can copy some of his technical skills, and all of this will be very beneficial for your success in poker. It's obvious. And the last one is constant improvement on every of the above factors. So you need to pick one factor at a time and try to improve it. Then once you are at least satisfied with what you achieved, and it doesn't consume too much energy from you to maintain that level at that factor, then you can move to the next one. Okay, now let's analyze all of these factors more deep. Technical skill. This is most obvious factor of success in poker, but not everybody knows how to work well on improving in this. So you might be doing a few hours of work every day, but if you are doing this on a very different topics, then your brain will not be able to catch up on this, and you will just be forgetting what you learned yesterday or the day before yesterday. So you should once again select a specific topic, let's say third barreling bluff in a single raise spot, then and make a little bit of a prior analysis and see which hands you need to select. Then make some card runners EV simulations to see how much EV you will be winning making those bluffs, and how, for example, the overall EV of your range will be changing in that spot if you are applying bluffs or if you are not bluffing at all, and if you select, for example, different sizes or different hands to bluff, how your EV will change. Also, run it once videos. You don't need to watch random videos, because usually this will just be leading yourself into different ways at the same time, and you will, when you start playing, you will forget about your own strategies. You might be processing a little bit too much info which you get recently, so too much conscious thinking will be focused on this recent new information, and you will not be able to implement it in your game. So once again, the best way, choose very narrow topic, pay most attention to those spots while you are playing, let's say for a week or two, and as you become more comfortable playing those spots, as you need less energy to implement the strategies which you discovered recently in these spots, this will mean that this knowledge is starting to getting into your unconscious knowledge region, and then if you fully absorb this information, then you can move on to another area of improvement, or if you want still to improve your technical skills, to another situation, another spots, and analyze something new. And once again, this should be pretty narrow part of information, really specific. This will be way easier to implement and absorb this info. Next factor is exploitation. What you should be doing here, you should be analyzing database of your opponents. It may, for example, if you have hard time playing versus some exact opponent, then you might want to analyze only his database, see what lines he is taking, if he is over bluffing in some spots or under bluffing, and then think how you should be responding to this. Maybe make some notes for this exact player of the tables, and then once you will face him at the table, you will be able to fight him way better than before. Another thing which you can do is mass database analysis. So, for example, in Hand to Note, you have such a feature called range research, and this allows you to analyze general tendencies of the player pool in some specific game, and also you can add some specific filters. So this could be regulars, this could be recreational players which are passive or which are aggressive, and for example you want to know with which hands recreational player with a when soft flop 50 is making third barrel at the river, and you can find out it through this piece of software, and then it will make it easier for you to look them up in these certain spots. Or for example, you want to know how often in general regulars are bluffing at the river with the third barrel in a free bet pot. You can once again do this in a few different ways. You can use range research, or for example in Hold'em Manager you just can go through hands of your opponents. So for example you are selecting 10 opponents which are in the same category. Let's say these are tag regulars which are not very aggressive, and you go through their hands, and from there you can have some more info on how their range is constructed, and which hands they are triple barreling there. And now you know if you want to call here, or if you can exploitably fold some strong hands and have higher fold to river c-bet than GTO plays against us, or than Pyres against us having there. Also in this exploitation factor I will include the ability to make very big laydowns versus some tag opponents which will not have bluffs in certain spots. So it can mean bet fold in some low full houses or low flushes at the river versus opponents which you know are not raising bluffs, or maybe the spot or the board is constructed in such a way that they do not have bluffing hands in their range, and you can be folding hands close to the top of your range. However, from GTO perspective, you will never be able to do this. Another layer here is to make some big exploitable bluffs. If you know that somebody is overfolding to overbets on the turn or on the river maybe, then you should bluff a little bit more frequently than optimal here and there. What's also important here is to pay really a lot of attention to stats of your opponent, and for doing this you shouldn't be playing too many tables, and also for being able to apply this big exploit, probably the stakes shouldn't be very high for you. So for example, if you are moving up to NL100 from NL50, probably you will not be able to make a very big bluff at NL100. So it's better, if you're working on this exploitation plays, it's better to decrease a little bit the number of tables that you are playing, and to play your normal stakes, or even maybe one stake smaller than your usual, to make you less afraid of making some expensive mistake here and there. Another very important factor is stable psychology, and obviously it will be easier for you to overcome downswings and bad beats if you face them for the third time, for the 10th time, and if you was playing poker for 7 or 10 years, then you understand what is variance, and you understand that downswings may last for 50k hands, 100k hands, and this is just the part of the poker, and you should keep playing, keep improving, and doing your best. Also, you shouldn't be believing in thoughts which appear in your mind. So for example, you look up somebody at the river, you see a better hand than yours, and you ultimately think that this was a mistake. However, when you was making a decision, you take a lot of different factors into consideration, and at that moment it seemed for you that it was a right play, and it is really high possibility that actually it was a right play, and you just don't need to be results oriented. If you want to understand whether the play was a mistake or not, then usually you should go over that spot after the session with deeper analysis, when you will have a little bit more time to think and analyze which factors are the key factors to making this decision, and only then you will know if it was a mistake or not. For me personally, mistake hate always was a big problem, because at school, at university, I usually was getting quite good grades, and I like doing everything perfectly, and if I cannot do something perfectly, I get upset pretty quickly. But it's basically impossible in life and in poker to not do any mistakes, because usually if you're not making mistakes, then you are not doing something that is tough for you. You are not stepping out of your comfort zone. So you just need to think consciously about the mistake, and not focus too much about losing some money, but focus on gaining experience, focus on making some new place in the game, and understanding that this is good for your overall improvements. So for example, if you're learning to bluff catch, it's obvious that sometimes you will be wrong, and it's okay, and it's a part of the game. It is way easier to stay calm during the game if you're happy from living your life, if you're happy from your hobbies, your family, your relationship, if you're healthy, and all the other stuff. And that's why it's really important to have a well-balanced life, and to not only be playing poker and sitting near your computer. You should be having proper rest, proper eating. We will go over this in the next factors. And in this psychology factor, it's also important to know your strong sides and your weak sides. So for example, some guys love playing big pots, they love making big bluffs, and this will mean that the relaxed play style is more suitable for them, and maybe they will want to play some more variance-oriented types of the games. However, some other guys, they love making big laydowns. They love to play tighter, and don't like making too big bluffs. And depending on this, your psychological sides, you should be changing your play. You should be choosing your play style right, and you should choose a right game for you. So, for example, if somebody is more mathematical guy and understand pre-flop really good, then maybe a tournament poker can be great for you. Or if you love variance and love gambling, then maybe Omaha is great for you. If you like making laydowns, like playing tight and a little bit passive, then maybe full wing is the best game for you to play, because here you can play pretty tight, select good games, and still win decent money. And while you are playing, if for example you are working on making big bluff catches, then you should be doing them, and you should be conscious in these spots, and try to not get too upset if you get wrong. However, if you are working on some other factor, some other aspect, and you know that making a big bluff catch will make you upset very easily, and probably you should be ending your session after making losing a big pot or a few big pots in a row, then I will suggest you to choose some lines which are not so which doesn't have too much variance in it. So for example, if you are thinking about betting the river, and you know that quite often you can get raised, and those raise range can have some bluffs in it, and you are not very comfortable bet calling in this spot, then maybe you should go for a check call or even check behind. And usually the EV of both plays will not differ too much, but you will face way less psychological stress in this spot, and you will be able to play longer session and stay calm for longer periods. Or for example, if you hate being raised in position on the flop, then maybe you should change your balance and change your style a bit in a way that you play check more out of position as a pre-flop aggressor, and build your range from there. So it's always important to know which sides of your psychology in game are strong and which are not. And if you want to improve something of your weak sides, then it's okay to go for those stress, but you should be knowing what you're doing, and you should be conscious in this spot. If you're working on something different, then you usually should take less variance, less stress. Another very important factor for me is money management, and this is not only about bankroll management, but also about knowing your expenses, estimated how much money you will make in the next month, in the next year. In poker, it's always a little bit hard to estimate your profits, so you should be cautious with this. Try to not overspend. Try to not overspend your money. Always have some reserve money for your bankroll, for your living. Don't overestimate your future profits. It will be quite accurate to calculate your hourly earnings based on the last half of the year. Usually nothing will change too much in the nearest future. It's very important to invest at least a part of your money in developing yourself as a poker player and also as a human being. So you should be, if you want to improve as a poker player, definitely you should be buying some new software which is coming up at the poker market. Also, you should be buying subscriptions for Once1 for sure. Maybe you want to hire a personal coach which will teach you strategy better, poker strategy, or maybe you want to hire a psychological coach which will help you to stay more calm while you play longer sessions, have more clear goals. All of this is very important. Also, you need to understand what is your general financial goals. For me, to play poker just to buy some expensive and fancy car, for example, is quite bad financial goal, because usually in a few years this car will get out of fashion, and poker is not very stable, and usually you should try to secure your future for at least next few years by playing poker. So for me, good financial goals from playing poker will be, for example, to accumulate funds for some education purposes, or to make some passive incomes, some investments, obviously in things which you understand at least a bit and you know that those investments will be safe. Or maybe you understand that you want to play poker just for the next few years, and you want to accumulate enough of funds to start your own business, or maybe you want to buy a house for you or your parents. And knowing these financial goals, this will not allow you to be spewy while you are playing, because you know that you need those money. Also, this will motivate you while you are playing, because your goal is clear and you understand why you are playing and why those earning those money are good for you, why you should be putting those hours in. And also this will probably decrease your spendings a bit. If you will be financially secure, then this will decrease stress from poker. You will go through downswing easier. You will be able to lose some pots easier and not bother about it too much. However, if you are financially secure, you probably will be less hungry to play poker and to earn money. So you need to have a balance in this area, and it's a little bit individually for everybody. Grind. It's about hours and hours of beating on your craft. It's about how many hours you are able to play during the month, during the year, how disciplined you are, how motivated you are, how much you can step out of your comfort zone. And some players might be very, very good technically. They might have good stable psychology, but they do not have discipline to put a lot of hours of work, and this will end up that they might be earning less money a year than some other guys who are playing way less stakes but for way more hours, and those guys from the lower limits will earn a lot more. And it's very important because in the poker history we see a lot of players who were really average on the poker skill and were not playing very high stakes, but who earned a ton of money and become financially secure and retire from poker quite fast. You will not be able to grind, let's say, for 150 hours a month at the very beginning of your poker career. This is also a skill which you need to develop, and you need to also do some exercises to develop this skill. You should try playing more tables than average in some sessions. You should try playing for an hour longer than usual and see that nothing too bad happens for you. So if you usually play 4 hours a day and then you try to play for 5 hours, you will see that you will not die from it. Your mind, your brain will not blow up. If you're working on a grinding and let's say you increased your tables amount a little bit and you increased the duration of your sessions, then you should make it a little bit easier for yourself in some different aspects. So you could be doing this on a smaller stakes just to develop a habit of playing longer, or you should be selecting better to increase your win rate here. You also should be choosing a little bit less variance-oriented lines and not implementing too many new strategies during these grinding sessions. So basically using the part of your game which you perfected to the level of unconscious competence, and then you will be able to play for a bit longer than usual. And once again, all of these success factors are very related with each other. So for example, if you have a good technical skill and you have a clear financial goals, you understand why do you need to be playing, and you have a good psychology background, then you will be able to play for a long time and you will be motivated for doing so, and you will have success in this area. So it's very important to improve every of these factors step by step, not all of them at the same time, because usually this will end up in a big frustration, big losses. But if you would be doing this by very small steps, then you will see constant improvements, you will be proud of yourself, and you will be moving in the right direction. Quality rest is usually underestimated. However, it's still very important, and this is probably the most important thing for your overall life happiness and good mood, good health, and good results in poker. So to have a quality rest, you need to plan your day at least the day before. You should know when you are playing your sessions, and let's say that you are starting your poker day from the morning. So you wake up, maybe go for a run, I don't know, and then you sit down to play a session. You played it, and now you know that you should play another session this day. And for me, it was a really real problem for a very long time, that after playing the first session, I was going to do some random things, maybe go to a restaurant for eating, go for shopping, go to meet some friends. But all the time, while I was doing these different things, my brain was a little bit overloaded with the fact that I understand that I need to play another session, and I cannot rest and relax during those off hours. Even I'm not playing, I know that I should play another session, and this was causing quite high pressure. And it will be very beneficial for you to make a small break between first and the second session, let's say, then play another session, know that you are done for this day, and then you will be able to properly rest, do whatever you want till tomorrow, and your brain will be resting. You will not be too stressed from knowing that you do not done things which you are supposed to do. Maybe some days you should plan only one session and maybe some theory work. If you understand that it will be too hard for you to go for 5-6 hours of playing that day, and maybe you have some accumulated fatigue you from playing. And you need to know in front which days of the week you will not be playing. Usually for me it is Wednesday or Thursday, because usually at those days games are worst and there is not too high value from playing in those days. But it's way better to make a conscious decision to make a day off than to be playing 9-10 days in a row, and then at the 10th day you end up playing pretty poorly. You feel bad, you make bad decisions, you lose, you understand that you cannot play anymore, and still you will take this day off, but with way worse consequences for your health, for your psychology, and for your bankroll also. And from your past experience, you should know that you will be exhausted after 3 or 4 months of playing, and you will need some break. And it's always better to be prepared for that, to have some trip booked, to buy tickets and hotels at cheaper prices. It will be easier for you to go through these months of hard work, because you will know that then a reward is waiting for you there. As an opposing to this, you could be playing, then okay, I can't take this anymore, I should go for a break. Then you buy some random trip, and maybe after it you will still be tired because you didn't think too much about choosing the right trip for you, and this might be not the greatest vacation in your life. So plan ahead, guys. You should have a very healthy atmosphere in your family, and I cannot overestimate the value of this and the value of spending time to make some improvements here. Because, for example, you can be a very good poker player. Let's say you can be making 100k per year, but you are spending all your life playing, not paying too much attention to your wife, to your children, and maybe at some point you will end up breaking up. And this will cost you a lot of nerves, a lot of money, because your wife will take half from you in the most countries. So now you are earning only 50k per year, not so good, and you don't have family. So maybe it was better to just play a little bit less, but pay more attention to your family and discuss different things with them, which they like, which they don't like. Friends, these guys don't need to be perfect. You just need to have fun from being with them. Poker buddies, you should have somebody with which you are talking about poker, and the more people you have like this, the better it will be for you. It might be players from lower stakes, from the same stakes that you play. If you can talk with somebody who is playing higher than you, then this is perfect. You should create such a network of players. If you teach somebody, this is really great, because you will go over some concepts in your head and make them more clear for the other person and for you also. If somebody is teaching you, then you will obviously have some knowledge from that person. Maybe you will understand some differences in the approach that those person is taking to poker, and by doing this you can improve your success level in poker. A lot of very successful poker players at some time in their life was living in a poker house, a house where everybody was playing poker and was discussing hands, having fun together. And if you have such an opportunity, if you have enough money to move even to different country to meet great poker players and you don't have family yet, maybe this should be the choice for you, because this will have a dramatic effect on your improving as a poker player and on your grinding ability, because everybody around you will be talking about playing, about earning more money, about being more successful than this. So this is really great. So now we go over all of those factors, and to increase your levels of success, you just need to pick one or two of those factors. Pick one small area there. Think what you can do better, and try to stick to those thoughts with which you come up for some period of time, at least 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you will be more used to that, and you can move to the next improvement. And it's very important to reward yourself after making even small improvement, because usually we are very strict with ourselves, and these are not doing any good for us. You should have one very good relationship in your life, and this should be the relationship with yourself. Make improvements, praise yourself, believe in yourself, have a positive self-talk. All small victories count, even watching this video till the end. And remember, you are worth success in poker and life.